Hey everybody, I'm Joel Green and welcome to Curiosity Quest, the show that explores what you, the viewer, are curious about. Now today our quest letter came to us from Pedro from Montebello. Pedro wrote, "Dear Joel, I've always been curious about our waste, electronic waste, household waste, trash. Is there enough room in our landfills? Will we run out of space, or will we have to eventually launch our trash into outer space?" Well, Pedro, because of you, we're going to discuss on today's shows ways to help reduce our waste so we don't have to resort to such drastic measures as sending our trash to outer space. Well, let's get started on today's Curiosity Quest Goes Green. I'm here with Anna, who's a specialist in the recycling business.
Hi.
So Anna, tell us, let's answer Pedro's question. Are we going to run out of space in the landfill?
Absolutely. Landfills don't last forever, that's for sure. The more we consume in our society, the quicker the landfills are going to fill up. And it's just a matter of time. It depends on your location.
So certain areas may be, a few years out, and other areas may be 20 years out.
That's correct.
But it's space.
Exactly, and not every landfill is the same size, so you have to take into consideration, you may live near a very small landfill, and so your area is going to have to come up with different ideas on where to put all of your trash. So it's best to think about waste prevention. It's not just about who's going to take care of it later. It's about what are you doing to take care of it now.
Here's your fun fact. Approximately 75% of what Americans throw into trash can actually be recycled.
So when we're talking about waste prevention, obviously we're at a transfer station where a lot of recyclables come.
Yes.
What are some of the things that we as residents should be aware of and should be doing to help prevent waste?
Well, I think the first thing is to think about your life. Think about your spending habits. Take a look at your home. Make it a family meeting time where everyone sits down and considers, what are we purchasing? What are we getting rid of? Do we think twice about purchasing in bulk or individual packaging? Those small decisions can make a big impact in your overall waste stream that comes out of your home.
It's so easy to say that, but these boxes that are surrounding us right now, these are refrigerator boxes, washer and dryer boxes.
Right.
And these are like necessities in most of our homes.
Right.
And yet, this is the result of it. It's a waste product, or is it a waste product?
Well, I would call this a transitional product because this is something that can actually become something else. It can be reincarnated into another product. Not every product in the market, not every material in the market right now can do that. So it's important to educate yourself, educate your family, educate your neighbors about what can be recycled and what is just ultimately going to be landfilled. It was not designed for reuse.
Okay.
And those are the materials in your household that you really want to stay away from, are the materials that are not designed for reuse.
Don't throw used toys and books in the trash. Donate them to charity.
All right, Anna, let's clarify it right here.
Okay.
Are there 3 R's or 4 R's?
There's 4 R's actually. Rethink, reduce, reuse, and then recycle. Okay, so you want to try to follow that in your home. First, you got to rethink what your waste stream is. What are you bringing in your home? What are you sending out of your home into your trash container, your recycling container, your green waste container? Rethink that whole process so that you can reduce the waste in your house. So once you rethink the process of how you purchase and what you discard, you really want to make an effort to actually reduce. Think of, creative ways that you can reduce the waste in your home. And then after that, once you've figured out, okay, you know what, this stuff really is going to have to go either in a trash can or in a recycling can or in a green waste container, you want to think, how can this be reused? Its life is not done.
Yeah.
Can we take it to a donation center? Can we donate it to a local school, a library? Can the kids reuse it? Can you reuse it? Try to be a little bit creative about what can be reused or repaired. And then finally, the end of the cycle is to recycle it. Put it in your recycling container, and then it gets sent off through your hauler, and it goes through a reincarnation process and comes back on the shelf as something else. But that is the last resort.
I see commercials now, and I mean, we've done lots of shows too on recycling, and it's not the beginning of it at all. It's
Right.
like the fourth step.
Exactly. Now there's a shift to waste reduction. The focus is not so much on recycling, because here in California, every city is required to recycle at least 50% of its total waste.
Wow.
That went into effect in 1989.
Yeah.
It's a bill called AB 939, and every city, no matter what, in California is required to meet a 50% diversion rate for their recycling.
So most cities have accomplished this 50% reduce rate. We're done great. We've all recycled. We're done.
Not so much. Not so much, no.
Okay.
Because really the goal is 100% zero waste. That is the goal.
What do you love about our planet?
I love that our planet sustains all life and beings that inhabit the Earth.
I love that it has fresh, fertile soil so we can all plant our food and crops. Well, I love nature, and I love how you can just take a walk in the park and look at the beautiful trees and smell the flowers and just be in nature every day.
Can we talk some specifics on what you should be recycling?
That is a good question. Now, just to touch on plastics, there are 7 types of plastics, okay?
Wow.
Some are easier recycled than others, okay? And you're really gonna wanna check with your recycling coordinator as to how many numbers your city recycles. If you're uncertain about what exactly to the T is recyclable, if you're looking at very specific products in your home as you're in the rethinking process and
Yes.
you're trying to consider, is this viable product? Is this recyclable? Can I reuse this? What should I be purchasing in the future? Check for the chasing arrows, look for the number inside, contact your recycling coordinator, and you can go on Lara's website, the Los Angeles Regional Agency, at www.laregionalagency.com.
Use stainless steel water bottles instead of plastic water bottles.
So we've got the plastics, so understand plastics now, check with your city, and then aluminum cans.
Aluminum cans, so there's 2 options with your aluminum and with your plastic bottles, okay? You can either take them to a local redemption center and redeem them for the value of the recycling fee that you already paid when you purchased the product. So
Yeah.
that's one option. And you can check your city's website to see where the nearest location is to you. You can go to www.bottlesandcans.com, and you'll be able to type in your zip code, and it'll tell you the closest redemption centers to you. That's the first option,
Is
okay?
that in California? or is
Yes,
that-
that's just in California.
Okay.
The second option is you can place it inside your recycling container, and then it goes through the process that we talked about earlier. But aluminum cans and plastic bottles, 100% of those can be recycled. Now, a little tip here for you. You want to make sure that you don't include any food waste or liquid waste in your recycling container, and that is across the board. That goes with any city,
Okay.
across the nation, across the world. Do not put excessive amounts of food waste in your recycling container because it can contaminate the product.
What do you love about our planet?
I love everything that Mother Earth gives us, like food and water and all the other materials that Mother Earth gives us. I love our planet because it's green. It's the only planet that has life so far, and it's fun.
I just like nature, animals, and natural things.
Now, I've heard that the majority of waste in a landfill is paper.
Much of our waste is paper, absolutely. And a lot of it is because we don't do the small things at home or at work, like printing two-sided or
Yeah.
reusing paper. And so it's really important to rethink the way that you use paper. You know, somebody probably didn't need this one label anymore,
Yeah.
and so all of it just went to the recycle bin, when someone could easily just have put another label on top of it and reused it, put it through another cycle of life. And that brings me back to the whole message of waste reduction, rethinking what it is that you're doing with the waste generated in your home.
How many name's Jonathan.
And my name's Bobby.
And so many people throw away their plastic grocery bags that me and my partner decided to iron a couple together and duct tape them together, then you get a reusable plastic bag.
Hi, I'm Carly Maloney, and instead of throwing away my milk cartons, I made them into little boxes for holding snacks, jewelry, anything you want to put in them, and they're just a good example for reuse.
Now I see the river of milk jugs. The river of milk jugs. Look at this.
You know, milk jugs are very easily recyclable. Actually, there are many companies that create new products with plastic milk jugs, including making storm drain covers, screens for trash that prevent trash from going into the storm drain. People use milk jugs so that they can provide a sustainable product for another use. It's really encouraging.
Glass, obviously, glass is 100% recyclable.
100% recyclable, no matter what. There is nothing that will prevent glass from not being recycled. It can always be recycled.
All right, what about metals?
Okay, well, metals such as bimetal, aluminum, the cat and dog food cans, all of those materials, you can make aluminum bats. They make clothing out of it. It's pretty amazing what they can do with some of these recycled materials. I've seen purses and handbags made out of the toppers of aluminum cans. So we all have to take personal responsibility for the waste that's coming into our home and the waste that's leaving our home. So no more are the days of it's somebody else's problem. There's always going to be a landfill to throw it into. Those days are gone. We have to continually think about what can I do to be the difference I want to see in the world.
Here's your fun fact.
1 ton of paper made entirely from recycled scrap saves 7,000 gallons of water, 3 cubic yards of landfill space, and 17 trees.
All right, Anna. So we made our way to a Roundup.
Yes, we did.
What's a Roundup?
Okay, Roundup is something sponsored by LA County Department of Public Works. What they do is like an old-fashioned lasso. They want to round up all the hazardous waste there is in this community.
Household hazardous waste. Give us a definition, if you would.
Household hazardous waste is basically any product in your home that has a material or ingredient in it that is toxic, corrosive, flammable. Those things are too toxic for the trash and way too toxic for the landfill. You don't want to place those things in your recycling container or your green waste container. They need to be disposed of properly at a household hazardous waste facility. Luckily, living in Los Angeles County, we have these wonderful Roundup events where you can just drive up the street, drop off your stuff, and the county takes care of the rest of it. So, in summary, hazardous waste is kind of an umbrella term. Within that, think about electronic waste. Think of all the electronics in your home. Universal waste, items that contain mercury, medicines, motor oil. I mean, you think it's there. And the reason why it's so bad is because it can pollute our environment and public health. Depending on the chemical, it can affect your immune system, it can affect the ocean, it can affect your local community and the landscaping. I mean, there's just a myriad of difficulties that come with putting toxic chemicals in the public environment.
And when we say putting them in the public environment, we're actually referring to putting them in a landfill, right?
No, actually, it expands beyond that. Putting it down the storm drain, and there's a difference between the sewer system and the storm drain. The storm drain is what you see on the side of the curb. That goes directly to the ocean. That is directly affecting marine life. The sewer system is what you find in your bathroom and your kitchen sink. You can think, oh, well, that's just gonna be clean down the road. Someone's gonna make that sanitary. Not necessarily. That can affect what is in your sewer system and actually contaminate the sewer pipes. So you have to be really careful. Putting it in the trash, even just dumping it on the street. I mean, there's so many ways that we can make our environment toxic.
So what you're saying is that after I'm done painting my house or my fence, I shouldn't take the paint that's left over and spray it out down the storm drain and having it all washed down?
That's exactly right.
You're also saying that batteries, I shouldn't be throwing it in my trash can?
Absolutely not. California is one of the only states right now that has banned batteries from the trash, from the landfill. and they are extremely toxic. It is said that maybe not one little battery would affect everybody, but think about how many batteries you use in your day. Think about every single electronic device that you use and how much is generated just in one home. Now multiply that by your entire city, your entire county, and the entire state. It's a real problem. It's about quantity when it comes to batteries.
Instead of using foil and plastic wrap, try using reusable containers.
Well, here's a good question to ask yourself, and for everyone at home, how many of those batteries are rechargeable, reusable batteries? And so choosing to purchase reusable or rechargeable batteries is really, if you have to use a battery, that's the way to go. And that brings me to two phrases. Cradle to cradle or cradle to grave, which I think is really important when it comes to hazardous waste. A cradle to grave mentality is when a product is created only to be used, and then when everyone's done with it, it goes to a landfill, which is considered the grave, right?
Oh,
the grave, dun, dun, dun. But when you do a cradle-to-cradle methodology, when you're creating your products, you're creating something with materials that already have a market. They already have an industry that they could easily be transitioned into recycling and being put back on the shelf again as another piece.
An example would be?
An example would be televisions, right?
Yeah.
Televisions are not just made of toxic materials, they also have plastic, glass, metal that can be easily recycled. So what they do is they take the televisions and they disassemble them. And they take the products that can be utilized for other purposes, and so those products can be reused.
But you said it earlier, which I found fascinating. You have to have a plan.
Yes.
You have to have a plan for purchasing and a plan for disposing. And that's a great idea. I don't have that plan yet.
The state has established a plan. They've required local communities in California to have a plan. And our job as advocates for local communities is to help our residents have a plan. And this is part of why we're filming today, is so that we can give people the resources they need to make those decisions. Because bottom line, I don't think anybody wants to fill up a landfill.
What do you love about our planet?
I just like nature, animals, and natural things.
I love that we have so many beautiful animals and plants here with us and to watch and see every day.
I love that there's all different kinds of plants and animals that live on the planet, and that there's life here so we can live happily.
And within the Roundup, household hazardous waste is what it looks like here.
Absolutely. We're a couple hours into our event right now, and it looks like we've got a massive container filled with over-the-counter medicines, prescription medicines. That's one of the best things about the Hazardous Waste Roundup is even medicines are allowed. I mean, bring it all, because you cannot put those down the drain any longer. The old rules, they're out the door. You have to bring them to a hazardous waste Roundup or facility to dispose of them properly.
See weed killer in there and a couple other things in there.
Absolutely. There's lots of salt. Over here in this blue container, we have a few chemicals, corrosives, you name it. We have different cleaners that you'd find under the sink. I mean, just basic everyday stuff needs to come here. It can't go in the trash or in the landfill.
And I don't want to get too close to here.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, paint.
Over here, tons of paint-related thinners over here in this container.
Help keep our planet clean by starting recycling clubs with your classmates.
Anna, because of the responsible community here, we're able to take all this household hazardous waste, load it in these big trucks, and send it to where?
Not to oblivion and not to a landfill, that's for sure. They're going to be going to responsible companies who are then going to disassemble all the materials that they can, and they're going to separate. Okay, this needs to go over here because we're going to remake this into a new product. This over here, this is really toxic and needs to be incinerated in a very special way, and everything is going to be a useful product at the end of its life.
And again, it would not be possible without the community.
Right.
It just continues.
Look at the participation here. I mean, this is really encouraging. This is really encouraging. And I think what's amazing too is, everybody's got busy lives, but the ones who take the time out to, do the right thing, they really do make a difference, and everybody can do that. It doesn't take that much time to get a box of stuff together that is too toxic for your house, too toxic for the trash, and to bring it down here.
This is truly about rethinking.
Exactly.
Rethinking what you're throwing away, rethinking what you're buying.
Here's your fun fact. Every Sunday, 500,000 trees could be saved if everyone recycled their newspapers.
For those that live in Los Angeles County, where can they go to find out where the local roundups are?
Okay, there's two options. You can contact the County of Los Angeles at 888-CLEAN-LA or go to www.888cleanla.com. Also, you can contact your local government agency or recycling coordinator, waste prevention coordinator, your public works department, and they'll be able to show you the right direction.
Let's move on.
Okay, all right. Very cool.
What do you think emerging technology is?
I think it could be new technologies that are like greener to the earth. So like we could use things that don't pollute the planet.
I think it's a new and improved green technology that's helping people today.
Well, like emerging and technologies, maybe like technologies that are emerging, like new technologies, because emerging means like coming.
I like it. I
Yes.
like it. Yes.
Yes.
That's yes.
Yes.
So we're going to learn about emerging technologies. What's that, you ask? I have no clue. What is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, all right, so we're about to learn from our experts, Kobe and Toby.
Hi, I'm Kobe. I'm with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works.
And I'm Toby, and I'm also with Public Works, and today we're going to talk to you guys about emerging technologies. And there's several different types of emerging technologies. There's biological technologies, and they use microorganisms to eat the trash. There's thermal technologies that use heat to basically cook the trash and take those gases and use them for other uses. And then there's also types of technologies that use chemical and mechanical processes to break down the trash into things that we can use. There's a lot of these different emerging technologies all across the world, in Japan and in Europe, but there's no emerging technology facilities here in the United States. And what we want to do in LA County is we want to be the first county in the whole country to get these cool facilities to process our waste in an environmentally safe way.
All right, so when we're talking about emerging technologies and as we learn about this, how does this affect how we use the R's? How do the two blend?
I think that's a great question, Joel. And actually, we kind of look at it like 5 R's, that after we reduce, reuse, recycle, rethink, there's also the recover aspect of it, and that's all that leftover material that no matter what we do, if we can't recycle it, that material would most likely go to a landfill. So emerging technologies are that last final step to take that last bit of residual waste and convert it into green fuels, into electricity, and to useful products like compost.
It is so important to recycle because recycling is the most effective way to get those materials and turn it back into the same material. So if we're recycling glass, we turn it back into glass. If we recycle plastics, we turn it back into plastics. The conversion technologies and these new emerging technologies, they're kind of our last resort. It's for things that we just couldn't do anything else with. Dirty diapers, things that are mixed together and are too contaminated, and that otherwise we'd have to put into a landfill. So this is a way, essentially, to make landfills obsolete.
Hi, my name's Isabel Gray, and I made a reusable shopping bag out of an old Grandview t-shirt. I also made some rags out of another old t-shirt that I've had for washing the car or doing the dishes.
We used old t-shirts and made them into a bag with a pocket, and it's perfect for books and a cell phone if you have one.
Hi, I'm Juliana Rossi, and I made a pencil holder out of a can, old felt, and some old glitter and eyeballs. And I stuffed marbles and recycled paper inside to keep the pencils in.
So Anna, quick review. We've learned about what we should be putting in our blue bin.
Exactly,
all right?
our
4
recycling
main
container.
things, which are...
We have our plastics, aluminum bimetal, glass, and paper.
And there are a lot more than that. We're not saying that that's it.
But those are your 4 main categories that any city you live in, you're going to be putting those 4 things in the recycling container. Anything that's specific or you're not really sure, it has multiple components, check with your local recycling coordinator.
Okay. And then, of course, we learned what the household hazardous waste, whether you should be taking that.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, that was, wow. Talk about a roundup. Yeehaw! And, of course, we learned that there's some new technologies out there, some emerging technologies that are going to make this whole waste business and industry pretty remarkable here.
Absolutely. It's going back to square one and rethinking all over again.
Well, thank you so much, Anna.
Absolutely.
This has been a fun journey. I want to thank Anna, I want to thank Kobe, I want to thank Toby, and I want to thank all of our student ambassadors who continue to show us how to reuse things on this planet. And I especially want to thank you, Pedro, for sending us on today's Curiosity Quest Goes Green. Now, if there's something that you're curious about, let me hear from you. Go to curiosityquest.org, click on the Send Us on a Quest link, and simply tell me what you're curious about. And who knows, it could be you that sends us on our next great green adventure. Now remember, this is our planet, and it's our responsibility to take care of it. So I'm curious, have you gone green? I'm Joel Green, and I'll see you next time. You told me to think like a kid, act like a kid, be a kid. I'm gonna be a kid!
Check me on lighting.
Lighting. Lighting. Thank you. Applause, please. Thank you.
If you'd like to order a copy of this episode or a previous episode, visit us at www.curiosityquest.org. The cost is $19.95.